Hello, come back. If this is your first time here, welcome, bienvenue. In this video, I'll be discussing 5 of the podcasts that I tend to listen to, although I must state that I listen to some more than others. And this is not based on the frequency of uploads, but because some just fit more into this particular phase of my life. So here are my podcast recommendations for you guys. The first one is Enjoy Everyday Life by Joyce Meyer. I have to say that this is currently my favorite podcast. I'm thankful to my friend for recommending this podcast to me and never giving up when I was reluctant to start listening to it. He knew I needed to make her part of my day, and he was right. I look forward to listening to her podcast daily. Her teachings are based on the Bible, and she knows just how to apply the scriptures to our daily lives. She has helped me or should I say she's helping me continuously in dealing with my forgiveness journey. Her story is so inspiring, like how she could deal with such tragedy and come out of it to be such a great woman, and so relatable. She knows how to insert humor at the right moment and just further endears her to me. I love her voice here. I find it very soothing, and I can listen to her all day on a loop. It's available on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, and on her website, joycemeyer.org. It's usually about 29 minutes long. So this is me paying it forward by sharing this podcast with you guys. The second podcast that I'll be discussing is one hosted by Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I think some of you know her as Elaine on the series Seinfeld, and of course the lead role of the VP on the series Veep. It's called Wiser Than Me, and it's weekly conversations with older female icons in film, fashion, journalism, music, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I like how like every episode is titled Julia Gets Wise With, that the name of the guest is inserted at the end. I also like the debrief session with her mom that comes after the interviews and conversations. It's really a nice touch. The introduction with the background story also a good one because it draws you in, she tells you a story, and it makes for a good listen. The episode that stuck with me the most include those of Sally Field, Rhea Perlman, Dan von Furstenberg, and Isabella Rossellini. Fun fact about Isabella Rossellini. I think the first time I heard about her was on the Friends episode where she featured. She was on the list of the 5 women that Ross said he liked. That was why while he was even dating Rachel. And he removed her because of Chandler, because Chandler was like, where do you think you're going to see her? And lo and behold, he saw her in the cafe that they usually sit, and he was telling her all the story of how he removed her, blah, blah, blah. And it was a funny episode, and that's how I met her and I knew about her. I have to mention that this podcast is rated as explicit because of JLD. She's prone to cursing. It also has a lot of ads being played. It's free to listen to on Podbean and YouTube, because I think on every other place that is available you have to subscribe. Like, I think it's a paid subscription, but I listen to it free on Podbean and on YouTube. The third podcast is Encyclopedia Womanica, and this is hosted by Jenny Kaplan. It tells the stories of, in quote, women you may or may not know, but definitely should. It has themes for each month, which gives you an insight to who you might be listening to for the month. Maybe not, but yeah, it's supposed to, and tells their stories. The theme for December is go-getters, and it has featured Mary Kay Ash, that's the founder of Mary Kay Cosmetics, and of course, I'm sure everybody knows Mary Kay. Okay, that's me being being funny, but yeah, and it's also featured Vivienne Westwood, the British fashion designer. For November, It was Women of Controversy, and it features Cass Elliot, Grammy Award-winning singer. She was in the group Mamas and Papas. It featured Mary Magdalene, who needs no introduction. Also, Mary C. Bolden, winner of the first ever National Spelling Bee in 1908. They provide further information resources such as articles, books, videos, websites for anyone who wants to know more about the featured personality. The podcast recordings are available on YouTube. Yeah, YouTube channel of Wonder Media Network. And just confirm. I wasn't sure of the full name. Yeah, so it's Wonder Media Network. The fourth podcast is You Are Not Broken, and it's hosted by Dr. Kelly Casperson. She's a board certified urologist. She discusses difficult, or more like seemingly difficult topics such as hormones, intimacy, communication, menopause. Basically, women and men and their health in general. She has medical professionals as guests to discuss the different topics. So for the topic of the day, she gets someone that is in the know and they're able to discuss it and give you some insights. And I like how she puts a disclaimer that the podcast is for educational purposes and not medical advice. So she's telling you, don't quote me, but I just want you to know about this and have more information so you can get to see a doctor if you need to. It's a good resource for perimenopause and menopause information. She has covered subjects such as dementia, libido, infidelity. No, I don't think so. Infertility, anorgasmia, testosterone, postpartum challenges. This podcast is also rated explicit because definitely when you're discussing medical terms and all that, you tend to go deep into it and you might have to be passionate about what you're saying, I guess. It's available on Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Spotify, Google Podcast, and YouTube. The fifth podcast is one hosted by Jay Shetty, and it's called On Purpose. This podcast is all about mental health and how we can have a more fulfilling life. He invites experts, celebrities, and other people of interest and has had a good range of guests. He's had Oprah Winfrey, Trevor Noah, Steve Aoki, Novak Djokovic, and he has discussed some topics, some interesting topics too. Some that I remember are how to build self-love, can you be friends with your ex, how to set boundaries without offending people, they weren't the ones for you and that's okay, ways to manage stress and anxiety during the holidays. The episodes are released bi-weekly on Mondays and Fridays and are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeart. Okay, here are my 5 podcast recommendations. If you've listened to any of them, can you let me know what you think of them? And if you have any recommendations for me, I'm always willing to try out new things. So let me know your recommendations, your thoughts on this podcast. And yes, if you're going to listen to any, listen to Joyce Meyer's. I'm kidding. Listen to all the 5 and just let me know what you think. So I'll see you guys soon. Did I just say I'll see you guys soon? I'll speak to you guys soon. Have a great week ahead. And I hope we've had a good year so far. I know it's just a few days in, but I hope 2025 has been good to us all so far. So I'll say this again. Kindly comment, share, subscribe, like. Thank you. Bye.